Hi, I'm Mauricio Schiller and you're listening to the Schulering Hub, a podcast gathering hospitality professionals from around the world to talk about what hospitality is and what isn't, and their lives, the innovations, and the ideas that set some businesses apart and others not. We also talk about the future, the trends, and recently we embarked on a journey to search for happiness in hospitality. What makes hospitality a happy place? What are the hurdles that block happiness from happening? And what can we do to overcome them? I invite you to be part of this journey. We make this for you, so I hope you enjoy it.
Exact words I hear are, when we go to buy technology, we don't know where to start. We hear hoteliers telling us often there's not objective information. It's very hard to know what's the difference of marketing, fluff, and is this article I'm reading about the best PMS for me, is this really objective or is this paid marketing? And, it's never in a negative light. It's frustrating. It's confusing. And then also there's just the overwhelm for hoteliers that I hear a lot of. There's a lot of new tech out there, and whether I walk into a trade show, I Google, or I go on LinkedIn, how do I even know where to start?
You are listening to Jasmine Seliga, a professional in the hospitality and technology industry with over a decade of experience. She has worked in sales and consulting for companies like Digital Alchemy and Travel Click. Today, she's the founder of a startup called Affixify, which provides an algorithm-based platform to help hoteliers select appropriate technology solutions for their businesses.
So let's not waste any of that time. Let's be prepared. And so in my experience, that starts with involve your team. Who are the key players? It cannot be a decision made in a bubble, right? So let's involve the team. What do we love about our current system that needs to be there? And then let's create kind of this requirements list of what do we need. And I would start on the product level. What do we need? And integrations. We need these integrations to operate. We need these features to function properly. We absolutely can't lose these features.
We had a really interesting chat about the challenges of tech integrations for hoteliers, and she enlightened us with her experience educating best practices to simplify the buying process, decreasing the anxiety during the tech shopping experience. So sit down, relax, and learn something new with Schulering today. Hello, lovely people, and welcome to another episode of the Schulering Hub podcast, where we talk hospitality. And today we are going to learn about building tech stack for buying technology. So before we start with anything, I have a question to you that you can actually go there to Spotify on the question box and answer. And what are some of the biggest roadblocks you encounter when implementing new tech in your hotel? Share with us, we want to know. But to learn more about hotel tech stack and all the challenges, all things about building the right technology for you, I invited Jasmine Seliga here to talk to us from Affixify. Jasmine, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to talk about tech stack.
I've been introduced to Affixify, and it's a great algorithm to help hotels to build a tech stack. But we are here to educate the people on what are the problems. And there are so many things when buying tech. I've been involved in some PMSs transfer here, and it's a nightmare. It's such a headache. It takes so long, so emotional, so difficult. But before we get to all this drama, Jasmine, please, humans come first. Introduce yourself.
Well, thank you. You're right. Humans always come first, and that's what we do in hospitality. So you did a wonderful job, but my name is Jasmine Seliga. I am over a decade into our industry. I've actually really never not been in our industry. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. So if you've ever been to Texas, howdy. I grew up in Southeast Asia, so this is not home for me, but it's home for now. and just so excited to be here. I'm a mom of 3 boys, so my life is pretty wild in between having a technology startup. So I guess I have all kinds of crazy aspirations.
3 boys and a startup. Wow, I don't know which is the most difficult and challenging in your life. But before you started your startup, you worked in the industry with sales of tech. So tell me a little bit about how that happened.
Yeah, so I always laugh in hindsight. Hindsight's 2020 for everyone, but when I was coming out of college, I wanted to go into medical sales, which I think a lot of people that want to go into sales, that's kind of the goal. And I had an internship offer with a company many will recognize called Digital Alchemy. So this was 12 and a half, 13 years ago now. And I thought, well, I'll just do that for a few months, get the experience and move on. And I started that internship. And I mean, within 2 weeks, I went to high tech. They let me go to high tech. And I thought, I'll never leave now. I loved hotels and hospitality so much. And within a few months, I moved into a sales manager role, into director, and then ultimately VP of sales for Digital Alchemy, was on the acquisitions team that helped sell the Travel Click. But all of that being said, it all started with very humble beginnings as an intern. And I really I remember walking in, I had never heard the term hotelier or hotelier. I remember someone telling me, I'm a hotelier, and I thought, what does that mean? So going from that to where we are today is really fun. But yeah, and I have always loved technology, but learning how to service hotels with technology was probably one of the coolest things about, what I did. So been a jerk.
You did some consulting before as well, didn't you?
I did. So yeah, I after we sold Digital Alchemy to Travel Click, and then actually very quickly after that, Amadeus came in and bought Travel Click. So I also had 2 kids in that time frame. So within a year and a half, 2 kids, 2 acquisitions, I needed a moment. So I stepped away on my own in end of 2019 to be home with my children, and I was home, which was a blessing, through 2020. And then at the beginning of 2021, I thought I'm ready to come back into hospitality, and into the, just the workforce in general, but I wasn't sure if I could do that full time with my home commitments, and consulting began to make a lot of sense. Not to mention, I have such a passion for helping technology companies and hoteliers. So I started consulting around April 2021, and that is really what I did until, as we were even launching a Fixify the first 2 years, I continued to consult, as we've all done things like that. So I just finished my consulting run at March 31st of this year. So I did 3 years of that.
That's fantastic. And now, we've been talking about Fixify for a little bit, and someone must be there thinking, what is Fixify? So if you have 60 seconds to introduce a Fixify, please go.
Super quick. So we are an algorithm-based tech selection platform. So we are not like a marketing channel. We actually allow hoteliers to find technology through our website using the data only. It's a feature need. They add and create a feature need list, and then our algorithm finds them the best vendor who, the vendor has to be in our platform, of course, but we give a percentage of feature match. And then we go from there on, there's so many things to it, on helping vendor and hotelier connect in a more efficient, data-driven way, where we take out the fluff, we take out the marketing, the opinions, and we just help them connect based on the data. That was my quick pitch.
Awesome pitch, and very valuable tool, because it is difficult. So let's get to educate a little bit, because the goal today here is to educate the hotelier out there that is thinking about, well, I do need to upgrade my systems here. Things are not working as I wanted, and I need that courage to make investment. And let's start from the beginning.
What is a hotel tech stack? So I use the word ecosystem. That's what comes to mind. It's really the ecosystem of the platforms that a hotel has that work together, and that's the key. So It's not just, I need a CRM, I need a PMS. These things have to work together, and that's what creates a tech stack, if you will. Kind of like in our homes, right? You have electricity, you have, who knows? There's all kinds of things that have to work together to make your home a place you can live. And we're so blessed in the modern day to do that. A hotel has to have the same thing. All of these components and technologies work together in an ecosystem so that the staff, first and foremost, has a seamless experience, and in turn, the guest has a seamless experience. And, in an ideal situation, a good tech stack makes it to where your guest never realizes you have 10, 20 systems operating in the background.
Yeah, like I love how the salespeople always show the ideal scenario when they are doing the demos of their tech, right? So everything works in the one click and everything is done. But you need all these systems actually talking to each other for that to happen. And it's not only one system, it's not only two systems. Sometimes, as I said, 15.
Yes. I would say, I'm going to say it's 100%, 99% for sure of hotels I talk to, integrations and interfaces, that's like the hot topic. Is everything else is good, but integrations have to be there for us to be able to move forward with good technology, because it could be the coolest looking platform ever, but if the integrations aren't there, they're not interested. So you're right, that it has to work together in the ecosystem.
You said a very powerful thing now, like the integration is not there and they are not interested. And this is an important point, right? Because sometimes you're going to buy tech and you say, yes, we have our engineers, they can just create an API with the PMS that you want to. But sometimes they are not interested. So why is that?
Okay, if I'm being honest, because we're all human, there's an emotion to buying, and the response is always, roadmap integrations scare us. The promise of an open API is a little scary. Not for everyone, but I would say the majority of conversations that I have and have had for years are, we need the integration to be there. We don't necessarily want the hope of an integration, because if you think about it, if I'm changing, I'll use the example right of my house. If I'm changing electricity providers for my home, I better have one provider off at 10:58 a.m. and the next provider on at 10:58 a.m. I can't have a gap. And so the promise of an integration, we don't know exactly when that could be delivered. That could be a true gap in your systems working together, and of course impacting the staff and the hotelier and the guest experience.
Yeah, 100%. And so what's the key factors that you should consider when selecting a hotel software? Integration, eh?
So integration, I think, has to come first. The next thing I'm going to say is a feature fit. No one wants to sit on a demo and hear every feature ever. We all know that's not what we want to hear, but it's so important if I'm going to select new technology that the features, first of all, that I need, maybe that my current system has, those have to be in place already. Because if you lose something in that process, now you've created a whole new problem. So you have to have the right feature fit. And then if there's a functionality beyond integrations that you're looking for that will make efficiency better, that will make the guest process, the guest experience better, making sure that's, in play as well. So features are huge. And I don't think we hear about that enough, in my opinion. We hear a lot of sales fluff, right? Like, what's the problem we're solving? And I agree with that, but you can't ditch the features in the process. And then, from there, I think the partnership aspect, the human aspect, as you talk about, and it's so valuable. You have to mesh with the company. You have to get a feel for, are they a good partner for me? Are they going to work with us? All of those things, like customer service matters. So I would say those are the three components: integration, features, and then the human aspect of just partnership. I think gone are the days of just, signing a monthly check. I don't know, no one does check for anyway, but, paying monthly and not even knowing the name of someone who can help you. I think hotels are really searching for that true connection, as we all are.
Yeah, that's cool. And so it's really complex, right? And how can we make it simpler? How can we simplify that process, buying tech, for someone that is now started to get shaking and oh my God, I was thinking about buying a PMS and it's so much more complex than I thought.
It is so complex. It really, really is. I think it's if I were to simplify it, it starts with preparation. It starts with, because at the end of the day, buying technology is going to take time. So let's not waste any of that time. Let's be prepared. And so in my experience, that starts with involve your team. Who are the key players? It cannot be a decision made in a bubble, right? So let's involve the team. What do we love about our current system that needs to be there? And then let's create kind of this requirements list of what do we need. And I would start on the product level. What do we need? And integrations. We need these integrations to operate. We need these features to function properly. We absolutely can't lose these features. And then I would take it to, okay, look, now let's talk about how we, what are the partnership things that we really desire and need. I think that preparation to start, it might take some time up front, a few hours, but in the long run, now you know what you need and you're not going to waste time with a vendor that doesn't fit that requirement. And to be fair, the vendor won't, they won't even get their hopes up entering that conversation and realizing there's not a fit. So I think those initial steps are the most key part, building that foundation. So when you go into a demonstration process, you're both in a good place to have that conversation and you're talking to the right vendor. So it's that preparation.
I like that preparation with involving the team and having basically what you're saying, correct me if I understood wrong, but it's to involve the team so you have the reason why you're buying that technology for the future of the company. You're not trying to fix something from the past only, but you are actually involving your team to foresee, like, look, we want a better guest experience, so the touch points are this, and this. So what system can deliver that? Is that what you mean by involving the people?
I do mean that. And I think that decision, if we're looking from a team perspective, people want to be included in our frontline team, the ones that are working with the guests day to day. They're going to have insights that are incredibly valuable to this decision. And so when we make sure it's not just at a leadership level, but we're involving those that are kind of on the front line, so to speak, we're probably going to get a better and different perspective than just what, one or two people think is a need in new technology. Yes.
Jasmine, like, some people out there may be thinking like, yeah, but we have our system. We just bought the ones that were the best price and everything works really well and it's fine for us. What is the difference to have the system well integrated? Why it's so important to have that integration between systems?
Okay, the word that comes to my mind is clunky. You might have good tech, but if things aren't well integrated, it's clunky. It makes things difficult. It makes things manual. It really slows down efficiencies. And so, first of all, I would even say start with your current stack and say, what have we maybe missed on an upgrade path? Maybe there are integrations and things like that were just missed that can make life easier. But we have to look a little bit beyond, this system is awesome, and let's look at, how integrated is this? How does this enhance the experience of both my staff and my guests? And how is it hindering that experience? Integration really is everything. And so being sure that that's paramount and that we're not just getting comfortable, I think is incredibly important. Because it's easy to get comfortable.
Really, when we don't know what to do, right? It's just don't talk to me. Avoid every sales call that you receive. Anyway, so when you speak to quite a few hotels and tech providers as well for your startup, and what are the main challenges that they are telling you from both sides? And here it's because, let's be fair, there are humans on both sides, so it's not easy for neither. So what is the main challenges that they are telling you that they are facing that you think that somehow we can help the industry to solve?
Yeah, I love that question. And one thing I just want to point out is that you acknowledge, there's humans on both sides. And I think everyone desires, and we can talk about this for our future state, but like we really desire to work better together. From the hotelier perspective, we hear a lot of, in addition to integrations, I mean, I'm being very honest that integrations come up more than anything because it is a challenge. But also wanting to know the exact words I hear are, when we go to buy technology, we don't know where to start. We hear hoteliers telling us often there's not objective information. It's very hard to know what's the difference of marketing, fluff, and is this article I'm reading about the best PMS for me, is this really objective or is this paid marketing? And, it's never in a negative light. It's frustrating. It's confusing. And then also there's just the overwhelm for hoteliers that I hear a lot of. There's a lot of new tech out there, and whether I walk into a trade show, I Google, or I go on LinkedIn, how do I even know where to start? So that's where I hear a lot from hoteliers, and among other things. And then on the vendor side, they're also navigating an uphill battle, because if a vendor is new, they're scaling up or starting up, they're having a very hard time if, maybe their marketing dollars aren't big enough to get the word out and hire enough salespeople. They don't always know when an RFP goes out. Maybe they have the right technology, but they're not getting a seat at the table. Vendors are quite frustrated by the pay-to-play model, knowing kind of, I could have gotten, a chance at that opportunity, but someone else was a higher bidder. It's actually been quite eye-opening, and I've been in that vendor seat, to hear they want to get a better chance at letting hotels know they exist and they're there to help. And hotels would really love to hear what's out there. And I think we have a disconnect on how do we bring those two together. Does that make sense?
It does, because it's true. I remember trying to help to upgrade our PMS here, and it was so painful because one of the requirements I shared with you in our discovery call, but one of the requirements that our management had was that they needed to have an accountant manager that spoke Czech, because we have a couple of directors that don't speak English. They speak Russian and Czech, but they don't speak English. So, and mapping out all the technologies that sell here, that have an accountant person that would speak Czech, it's very, very complex, very frustrating. And when you say that the fluff, the marketing fluff, and the sales people offering everything that the engineers must be taking their hair off and don't sell that. But it's not so easy. So we come to having a better system that will connect them. How would hoteliers choose the right technology for themselves? We spoke about integration, yes, but what else is out there that can help them to choose the right technology?
I think so, utilizing resources. I would say everything from a consultant. There are consultants out there that really know how to help navigate. Of course, I'm going to say it, not even just for a plug, but something like a Fixify where, you can help narrow down based on feature fit what you're looking for. I think in considering investment in the right conferences, being in person is so valuable. We missed so much of that in 2020, and getting the opportunity to connect from a human perspective, being face to face, and then really, I hate the word doggish, but kind of being doggish about these are the things we're looking for. We're not going to settle without having these things. I think that is a good starting point. Unfortunately, we're working on a solution to not have so much marketing fluff. It is hard right now, but keep an eye out for those startups or scale-ups that really want to make a difference that maybe you're not hearing about. That would be my other piece of advice, is stay open to companies out there that they started to help make a difference, and they might just need a chance at sharing, how they can help you. So,
wow, yes, I would add one thing to this as well, and my 5% here, if you are listening to that, do learn from success stories from other hoteliers that went through the pain. And they normally, when you engage with podcasts, there are many podcasts talking about tech, and try to find one that is not sponsored by the tech company itself, because normally they are talking about their solutions. But there are many tech podcasts that are very neutral, and they invite hoteliers to speak about that process of implementing and the actual result of it, and believe, because what I hear is a lot of people don't believe that results come from finding a better integrated system, that the guest experience is easier, it's seamless, and the marketing just flows, and they don't believe it, and they can't see the numbers, so they don't believe. But do listen and learn from others. Jasmine, we are getting to our crazy part of the podcast. Is our Back to the Future moment here. I have my
yes,
little guys there that they inspire me to think of how hospitality will look like in a decade. So we do this because we want the hoteliers, we want consultants to get some inspiration, and they can go to our podcast each episode. Just forward to the last 10 minutes if you don't want to hear the whole conversation and get inspiration of what the future will say. And then if you like what the future look like from that person's perspective, go back and listen to the whole episode.
That's a great,
what hospitality will look like in the next decade.
This one, I have thought so much about this since we talked last week. And the thing that comes to me over and over, this will be our jumping off point, is I think we're going to see, we're kind of there now. We're at a fork in the road where some of us, and I'm going to be honest, I fall in this camp, really still want to keep that highly personal experience, less AI, less automation, all of it, and just really keep, I'm a big person on tradition, the traditional hospitality experience. And then I think there's a camp of people that really, really want to see, like, where can AI take us, and where can this futuristic version of not just hospitality, but of society, where will we be? I kind of think we're going to see two very distinct camps of people. And as a result, I think hospitality will follow in those two ways. I don't think there's going to be a lot of room for the let's play around with the idea of AI or the idea of, robots or whatever. I think you're either going to have to go one way or the other. And then, my opinion is that we're all going to end up, this is my opinion, kind of missing that super hyper personalized experience that comes from human touch, not from AI. I know that's such an unpopular opinion, but that's what I'm thinking.
So you believe that we're going to be missing that personality? We're going to go more for the automated part of hospitality?
Yeah, I think we were just humans were designed to want human interaction, and it, no matter how awesome, and I'm a tech person, but no matter how awesome or automated or whatever, we really were designed for interaction. And I think that we're going to see, while right now we're seeing this huge uptick of like all the cool things that tech can do, I think we're going to really miss that human perspective. I really do.
Hope not. I believe that I do believe that tech will just be, as I said, I don't remember which podcast we had that conversation, but I see like AI as we're speaking today is basically us speaking about the internet in the 2000s. I like it.
Yeah.
It's just you don't, the word internet seems old, even.
So true.
It's just part of us, and it's everything there, and you don't think about that anymore. And I think that will be part of the hospitality. I do believe that luxurious experiences will always be centered on a human interaction. I
agree.
I do believe that we're going to invest so much on that.
I think so too. I think you're right on that. I don't think we can replace any, the luxury experience requires a human touch. And I think there is like I said, there's a fork in the road. There's people that want to see how far can we take the AI automated, all of it. I just think it's going to be interesting to see who falls in which camp and what happens as a result, because we're such a unique space where people really go to certain hotels for that experience. And I think there's only so much a machine can do to create that versus what a human brain can come up with, on the personalized front.
I had a very interesting podcast with Samira Holma last week, and that was about destination marketing. And what she does is to help this very personalized experiences that are local. So it's for the local community.
Yeah.
And then when we talk about the future, we foresee how this experience will become in VR, right? Because it's basically, that's where we're going, right? That work experience, but we'll end up building the digital version of the experience if you cannot afford to actually go there and see it. And there are so many things happening. Love your idea, love your way that you think. Jasmine, how can our audience get in touch with you and learn more about Fixify?
Yes, so you can email me. I'm just going to throw it out there. Email me at jasmine@getafixify.com or find me on LinkedIn. We're very active on LinkedIn. I always say it, we're real people. So you're not going to get, nothing wrong with chatbots, but you're going to get a real person if you reach out. And we would love to have these conversations, and obviously our website, getafixify.com. But feel free to email me. I'm always here and happy to connect with our industry. And thank you so much for having me. This was an honor.
My pleasure. But before we go, you are also participating in a big fair coming up, right?
I will be pitching on behalf of our company at Entrepreneur 20X at High Tech in Charlotte. And just actually today I looked, it's like 27 days, 28 days. So I will be on stage. We get 4 minutes to share our passion and idea with as many hoteliers and vendors want to come. And 4 minutes of Q&A, and then see who gets, out of 8 of us, kind of the winning startup of the year. So,
well done, congratulations! All the best luck. Don't the pressure. Congratulations! All the best luck for the competition. But just pitching in such a big event, it's winning already. So take that as an experience, and it was a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you. So good to be with you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Schulering, I'll talk to you next time. Bye.